Hey everyone, in today's session we're going to cover Cashier mode. Cashier mode allows your merchants to configure their own MIDs, they receive additional information as part of the transaction processing, and additional functionality in a merchant control panel. So to start with, we'll go to the merchant, and under the process tab, we'll see the enable Cashier mode section. That section will show you what are the available features that will be enabled for the merchant. As an example, allow them to configure the MID, as we said, show routing logic, extend the responses for the merchant, adding the parent debit company ID into the notification itself and into the callback URL, so they will know which provider you process the transactions with. Show them the logo in the transaction monitoring, meaning when they'll go to the transaction view in the merchant control panel, they'll be able to see which PSP/acquirer, APM provider, etc. You process the transactions with, the ideas we mentioned, and show totals by providers in the home screen of the merchant control panel. The only settings you'll have to do is only check this checkbox, and this will automatically apply all the changes to their merchant control panel. So I've already took the liberty to log in to this merchant. So we see here that on the home screen, automatically he see that he processed with FedZebra, Yapeli, Nove, or System, and the more he processes with other providers, he'll see all of them here on the list. Second options, under his account, we'll move this aside. So under his account, he'll be managed to see the routing logic. Shows him exactly how you configure the transaction routing between the different providers, which this is only visible if they're using Cashier mode. Otherwise, you won't be exposing which provider you'll be using as part of the transaction. Then if we go again under account, we'll have MID configuration. This will allow the merchant to bring their own MID, the same as you saw in the different video on configuring the MIDs on our end. So he'll be able to choose which provider he wants to process with and then set the MID itself. That MID, for example, will be shown for yourself also to configure it, but allows them to do the configuration without involving you in the process, including the limits they receive from the provider and everything else. Which means that in this mode, you will be the one setting the MIDs, but he will be the one bringing them and configuring, and they'll only be able to be used under his account. The whole idea of Cashier mode is to show transparency between your relationship with your merchants, so the merchant doesn't have to guess which provider he's working with, etc. Of course, in terms of rev share, in this case, you'll be only making transaction fees rather than additional MDR. So if we go to the filters, show, let's say, for example, test transactions, and then you'll be able to see that the provider that was processing the transaction and not just the payment method as opposed to a regular mode. So in this case, we don't have a lot of transaction on this account, but we do see that it was processed through Gigadat, and this one was going through System. Thank you. Do follow our other videos on the channel, like and subscribe to see more videos about how to operate our system. Thank you.